Hey everyone, it's Kyle and Landry and Blitzen, and I wanted to come on here and do my labor and delivery story. I actually tried to film it a while ago, but I went over 10 minutes, and for some reason ever since Google Plus came around, I can't upload videos that are longer than 10 minutes. Oh man, now you're tired. So I'm going to probably do this in 2 parts also because he's going to nurse anytime soon. So basically I went in for an ultrasound on Thursday the 27th. I was supposed to be induced on the 31st simply because of my platelets and my blood pressure. Everything was just looking like I should be induced before my due date of April 5th. So I went in for the ultrasound on Thursday the 27th, and the sonographer always would say the same 3 things to me, which is the head's down, he's doing his practice breathing, and your fluid looks good. The second that she put the wand on my tummy, the second, stop it, this is my life. The second that she put the wand on my tummy, she said, where'd all your fluid go? And of course my answer was, I don't know. She asked me then if my water had broke, and I said, I don't know. I didn't feel anything unless it was like a slow trickle, and I have, no idea. So she said, all right, well, I need to go get a doctor. And right then and there, I kind of started to panic because I knew something was wrong. I mean, you never want to hear like, did your water break? And, not know, because that could be just sign for a whole lot of trouble. So my water didn't break. The doctor checked me and she said that it could have something to do with the placenta. And she said, because now that your fluid's low, your platelets are low, your blood pressure's up, you have all these things going on, she said, I'm going to induce you today. So you're going to head over to labor and delivery now. And, just go home, get your stuff. She's like, it's not an absolute rush that you get there, but try to get there as soon as you can. So in the meantime, I was texting Chris, I was texting my family, and Chris was not answering the phone, and it was killing me. I texted him probably, he was on the group text that I texted my family, plus I was texting him individually. I probably texted him about 10 times and didn't get an answer, and that's just not like him. And I called his work phone at least 5 times, and I called his cell phone in between then at least 10 times, and I got no answer. So I was like really panicky at this point, and I had called my dad and just asked if he could meet me at my house so that he could take me into the hospital, because I didn't want my car there and then Chris to come later, so we'd have both cars there. And then the second that I called my dad, Chris finally called, and I just let him know what was going on, and he was able to meet me at home and take me into the hospital himself. So when they tell you induction can take a long time, I really didn't expect it to take 24 hours. I thought maybe at the most like 12 hours, maybe 18 hours. I just wasn't expecting a full day. So I got to the hospital around 1 o'clock, and I was induced at 2. So they started the Pitocin and all that stuff. And I felt really good going there. I was obviously having a couple contractions, but I'd been having them prior to being induced, so that wasn't that bad. And the only thing is that, like, when you go and you're going to be induced, they tell you can't eat anything, especially if you're not sure if a cesarean is in the works, because, anesthesia and having food in your stomach, that doesn't go well together. So I didn't eat anything, and I was starving, and the only thing that you can have is like ice chips, and they had a snow cone maker in the labor and delivery unit, so that was nice because I had about like 4 of those. They don't even let you drink water. If you drink water, you have to take it like sip for sip, like it's awful. So Chris left me a couple times to go eat, because at this point, it was right after lunch, and I obviously hadn't eaten all day. Like, I didn't even eat. I think I had a granola bar that day for breakfast. So Chris left to go eat dinner, and I was able to just relax. I wasn't even tired because I was so excited, and I thought like things were going to progress pretty fast. And of course they didn't. So it's a waiting game with the Pitocin. They up it and then they down it, and then they just try to get your contractions to be even, but they also need to be doing something. You can have, contractions a minute apart and they're not doing anything for you. So I wasn't expecting that. I thought, you know, Pitocin just works as is. Like, you just start it and then, you know, you start dilating and then the baby comes, but it's not like that. Right around, I wish I had the times with me. Chris had like written down all the times that I got, like what medicine and when. But the only thing I had was the Pitocin and the epidural. They asked me if I wanted Stadol, which I definitely didn't. I heard bad things about that, and I didn't want any type of narcotic because that would also affect the baby. So right around 4 centimeters, I was in so much pain that I asked for the epidural, and I didn't get it right away. They told me that I needed a whole bag of fluids before I could have the epidural, and that was not my fault. That was the nurse's fault, and actually the anesthesiologist was pretty ticked off about it too when she came in the room. She said, "Don't you give her fluids as soon as they get here?" And I guess, I don't know what the nurse was waiting on. I don't know if she thought I was going to go longer without asking for the epidural. But yeah, around 4 centimeters, I was on my side, wincing in pain at every single contraction, and it was getting to the point where I couldn't even breathe through them. They were just really, really intense. So I had the epidural, and that wasn't bad at all. It was scary because you know you're gonna have a contraction through it, and you're told you cannot move or you could like go paralyzed. So it was intense, but it definitely didn't hurt. Like, I don't know why people think the pain of the epidural is bad, because it doesn't hurt anywhere compared to what contractions feel like. So the nurse warned me that the epidural can do one of two things. It can either relax your body so much that it progresses you into further labor, or it can relax your body so much that it absolutely does nothing for you. Thank God it worked in my favor, because after that, it went pretty quickly. I had the epidural, I don't know, I think around 10 o'clock at night, and it might have even been later than that. I can't remember, but with that, I was able to sleep, so I think that did my body good too. And the next morning around 7 a.m., I believe I was like 5 or 6 centimeters. So it definitely was progressing, but I knew that I had a really long day ahead of me because it was just taking forever. Once, I think it was around 11:30, 12 o'clock, my dad came to visit me, and he was there because my dad had a blood clot earlier that month, and he had to come back to the hospital to get medication and just to, you know, get a checkup. So when he came in, we were talking for a while, and at this point, my contractions were very intense. The pain of the contraction wasn't there, but the pressure was, and then slowly pain kind of started to set in, and they told me not to confuse it with pressure, but honestly, like, I have a super high pain tolerance, and I really felt the pain of them. So they give you like this little button thing that you can press, and every 15 minutes you can have like a dose of medicine. So I was pressing that as my dad was there, and I feel like because he was there and talking to me, I was able to calm down a lot. And right before he left, the nurse came in and said, "I'm gonna, you know, check you, see how far you're dilated." And obviously that was my dad's cue to leave. So he came over and touched my belly, and he said, "Landry, I think it's time that you should come out now." And with that, he left. And a second later, the nurse came in and checked me and said, "You are fully dilated and it's time to push." So the whole time in my head, I truly thought I'd be having a C-section. And that's just because they warned me how big this baby is, and I didn't feel like I was really progressing fast enough. So at this point, I thought for sure I'm going to have a C-section. But she said it's time to push. And with that, I will continue this video for part 2.